Hello, it's Talking Reds. It's John Gibbons here with my best friend in the whole wide world, Josh Sexton, and we are bright and sunny on this Thursday. A lovely day. Yesterday, let's talk about the weather first of all for the match yesterday. It caught a few people out, didn't it?
It really did. It very much caught me out. I was in like a puffer jacket with a jacket underneath, and then a t-shirt, and I was walking around. Like I went up to Anfield quite early in the end, and honestly around Anfield it was absolutely gorgeous.
Like it
was like full blue skies, no clouds. Yeah, it very much caught me out. It was good to see some of your boys arriving in shorts after the cavalry coming in their shorts later on.
They got the memo.
Yeah, they always do.
I reckon some of my mates have got emergency shorts just in a little pouch somewhere on them they can unleash.
Little fanny pack with like roll-up shorts and.
Absolutely, have to be a big pack, let me tell you, for some of them. But anyway, yeah, it was a beautiful night. It's a beautiful day here in Liverpool, and we're all feeling good, Josh, because we're through to another Champions League semi-final. It's a lovely sentence to say.
It feels mad to say, doesn't it? Because it feels like to this point Liverpool have sort of cruised on all four fronts, and I know that's going to anger some Everton and Manchester United fans who think that Liverpool have had an easy run to this point. But you know, it almost doesn't feel like we're at a Champions League semi-final stage because of the nature of how Liverpool have made it look. Liverpool have made it look all so easy, and you know, last night I don't know if you could say it was particularly easy, but Liverpool obviously always had the 2-goal advantage on aggregate, so you never really felt like there was too much jeopardy. But it was a great night at Anfield. I was in 306 of the Cop, and the atmosphere was absolutely bouncing all night. It was a proper Champions League quarter-final atmosphere, and yeah, absolutely ready for the semis now.
I mean, helped by the atmosphere was helped by the fact that it was a bit of a crazy game, wasn't it? When we went 1-0 up, I thought, oh, it's going to be sort of, you know, they'll just sort of see this out from here, really, whereas, you know, they obviously get the equaliser, there's offside goals that do count, there's offside goals that don't, and I think, you know, the fact that their fans were bang up for it as well, all just sort of helped, really, and made it into a lot more fun night than maybe it could have been.
Yeah, their fans were great, to be honest, in the away end, and there was a load of them in town. Like when I left work earlier in the day, there seems to just be little like patches of them in different places, like some in Exchange Flag, some outside Castle Street Townhouse, some on Matthew Street and that kind of thing, which I quite like to see, because I feel like when we as Liverpool fans travel anywhere, we do travel in numbers, and we sort of, you know, try and take over different aspects of their cities and you know, make ourselves heard and make ourselves known, and it felt like they were doing that yesterday, and it was nice to see, to be honest, and I'm sure some of the local businesses were benefiting from that as well, which was good. And there was also a nice moment at the end where their players went over to their end and were just sort of stood there like admiring, and you forget how big that is for them, really, not only to be coming to Anfield and playing Liverpool, but to have got to a Champions League quarter-final. It felt like a sort of big occasion for both sides, really, and luckily the Reds did the business.
One lad who impressed Darwin Nunez, Rob Gutman on Twitter, spending 80 million quid on him. I mean, we don't need a forward necessarily, is what I would say.
Doesn't matter to Rob that.
But I mean, Jurgen Klopp said he's handsome, and you know, so if his recruitment policy is anything like the Anfield Wrap's one, then it should
be. should be getting him in on that basis. He was great again last night, wasn't he? He's so like imposing as well. I think that's one of the things that impressed me the most about him is that there's one point where he's running down the line. In fact, I think there's 2 times, one where he's doing it with Konate and one where he's doing it with Gomez, and it took like all the might of Gomez and Konate. I mean, Konate just boshed him out of play in the end, to be honest, but it took all the pace and all the might of both of them to catch up to him. And there was that one which obviously was offside in the end, where he chips Alisson, which is an unbelievable finish.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good going at the pace he's going to be able to lift it over Alisson like that. He looks a serious player, and look, if Jurgen Klopp does decide to adopt the handsome policy for his transfer market dealings in the summer, then more power, because he would be fantastic, and you'd hate him to be anywhere else.
It served the Anfield Wrap well, I can say. As the least attractive man at the Anfield Wrap.
That's harsh. Come on.
I'm just saying it's a high standard, you know what I mean? I'm putting myself at a 5 or a 6, but there's 8s and 9s knocking around all over the gaff upstairs, and that's before Jordan's took his ponytail out. But you know, so anyway, I've completely lost my trail of thought. Oh yeah, so it's funny because yesterday me, Neil and Harry had a bit of a meeting about the summer and planned out all the schedule, and it's looking really good. And one of the games we do is the transfer committee game, where 3 or 4 of us get together and pretend we're the transfer committee. Neil, who's John Henry, or God, in this situation. Depending on how he feels in the morning, gives us a sum of money and gives us values for everyone who Liverpool's been linked with, and also existing members of the squad if we want to sell. And I was thinking last night how much of Neil's war chest. Gutman's going to spunk on him.
Well, I love the idea that Rob basically decided that like Darwin Nunez will cost 80 million, so that means that Neil, full of needle, can then go and say he's worth like 120 just to sort of usurp Rob. Yeah. So when Rob goes to play that game, I'm sure him and Neil can have a bit of a bicker about that.
Well, you said 80 to 100. Yeah, I mean, he scored 10 goals since then. Well, he's only got more handsome.
If he takes his ponytail out, you know, could be like Jordan.
Stupid sexy Jordan. Anyway, we did really good post-match reaction last night. I was in the Glenbook Hotel doing the audio, and what a fantastic show that was. And then the guys over in the church doing the post-match pint. We're going to get a little clip of here now. This is Neil Atkinson waxing lyrical on Bobby Firmino.
He does it loads of times. He actually sort of half loses it with his first touch. Draws 3 of theirs in and comes out with it in the melee. And their 3 are going, hang on, did you win it off him? I thought you were winning it off him. Did you not win it off him? And he's away and he's gone. And I think it's incredible, genuinely. And you got to see a lot of it tonight, and hopefully we'll get to see some more of it between now and the end of the season. And trust me, I want to see it into next season as well. Where I think he's so good at times at just linking things up, as you say, grafting to win it back, doing so much ugly work. And that's why his manager loves him. His manager loves him because of the silkiest footballers you could ever think of. He's the ugliest one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like the opposite of Dirk Kuyt. In that Dirk grafted ever so hard, but none of us ever thought he was silky, genuinely. We all knew he wasn't. We knew he was what he was. But every now and again he'd have a moment of absolute wonder. And you go, my God, Dirk's got that in his back pocket. Firmino's almost the opposite, where he's so much silk, but he allies it with tons of steel all the time, over and over again. And he loves that bit, and he loves coming away with the ball. That goal, the goal to make it 2-1, honestly, it's a crazy goal. Like, every series of events that happens, the least likely thing happens over and over, and then Firmino scores. And in loads of ways, yeah, if he'd have dinged the keeper, it would have been the ideal Bobby Firmino goal. But the idea there's a goal where he's involved, absolutely ratting about in the build-up. Then he has a nice touch. Then he peels off. Then loads of mad shit occurs. And then he kicks it into the back of the net. Is the perfect Roberto Firmino goal. And honestly, you can't talk about him enough. You've just said their 3rd semi-final under Jurgen Klopp. 3rd semi-final, Roberto Firmino. Yeah. Roberto Firmino's also around when we get the Europa League final. Roberto Firmino is at the centre of everything that's been brilliant about this club, but about this team now since 2015. I love him to pieces, and my God, he's got more in him. Everyone keeps saying, who do you want to score this goal or that goal? And my answer every single time is Roberto. Well, not Divock or Jordan. I mean, I'm not against them scoring big goals, don't get me wrong, but every single time, let it always be from now until the end of this season, Roberto Firmino.
Hope you've enjoyed that. It goes into mad places after this quote as well, talking about getting in Bobby's head and all that, and taking Bobby to all 60 pubs on the Liverpool pub sort of poster.
Sounds like content.
It does sound like content. I mean, that's down for the summer. So if you want more of both post-match pints and what we've got planned for the summer, make sure you subscribe to the Anfield Wrap. Make sure you download the app. You can subscribe just for YouTube if you want as well, or you can download the app and make sure you're getting all our audio and video content. Obviously, there's loads of really exciting things happening between now and the end of the season that we're going to be talking about. So yeah, a great time to get on board a little bit more with the Anfield Wrap. Talking of exciting times, there's a semi-final now against Villarreal. One of these draws that Liverpool apparently picked for themselves, according to your friends you were mentioning before. It is a nice one. You can't get past it. I mean, you have to respect them and who they've beat. They beat Juventus, they beat Bayern Munich. They're very much here on merit. It's going to be a tough game for Liverpool. We're home first, so we'll have to try and get a decent lead to take there, because they'll create a decent atmosphere. But all that aside, as Champions League semi-finals go, it's not a bad one indeed.
No, absolutely. I think in terms of, name and stature, it would be the one you'd want of all the quarter-finalists, really, to make it through to the semi-final. I think, we probably inclined to underestimate Unai Emery because of his time at Arsenal and how sort of badly that went for them in the end, but you're forgetting that they still got to Europa League final under him. He's just got that European pedigree. He knows how to win European ties. He knows how to get through over 2 legs, and I think we can't underestimate them at all. They've been a stubborn opponent for so many good sides this season, and for so many in the Europa League last season, which of course they went on to win and beat United in the final, which we should always remind United fans if they're saying this is an easy draw, they should have just beaten them then. But it's going to be tough. I think if you were looking for sort of European glamour ties in the semi-final. It's maybe not one of them, but I'm sure that both teams can still make it an exciting one and still make it, you know, fantastic over 2 legs. And you just hope, as you say, that Liverpool take a big enough lead there to sort of get round Unai Emery's stubbornness, but also get through to the final. That's the main thing.
But before all that, big game Saturday, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of Man City. I saw very little of it, apart from I saw some dressing room fracas after the game, but I didn't see anything on the pitch, to be honest with you. But from what I've read, and I was following it a little bit on the BBC, you know, live, sort of, you know, minute by minute write up. I'll be honest, during our game, just to sort of see if they will go through. Obviously they did, but sounds like a tough game for them, maybe a couple of injuries and not necessarily bad news for Liverpool on Saturday.
Yeah, there was a few sort of pub pundits in the Glenbook after who were saying that apparently City were quite lucky. Atletico should have scored. I think Atletico did they get a man sent off in the end? Something it seemed like it was. There was all sorts going on there. I was watching the little bit of the scrap just before we started recording here, where Phil Foden gets fouled and Savic goes over and tries to pick him up, and then there's a big to-do there. It felt like a sort of very traditional Atletico Madrid way to go out in a blaze of glory by just basically kicking everyone's head in. It reminds me of that Chelsea-Tottenham game when Chelsea lost the lead to Leicester a few years back, and Chelsea just started volleying everyone, and it turned into absolute chaos. It's sort of a similar vibe to that, and you'd expect nothing less of Diego Simeone. But you know, I think it was good that we sort of, I don't know if last night was sort of lacked intensity, but that it was a fairly sort of straightforward result on aggregate in the end for Liverpool, and it didn't feel like they expended too much, particularly in terms of the lads who you think we're playing on Saturday. And it seems like City had to expend quite a lot to sort of get that one over the line. So hopefully there's a few tired legs and a few decisions for Guardiola to make ahead of Saturday there.
Yeah, a few decisions for Guardiola to make, and of course the clock maker as well. Obviously throughout the day we're going to be doing more reviews of last night, so we've got literally the review taking place there next door at the moment. Neil is recording that. There'll also be Tour Live later today, so if you missed Talking Reds being live today, if you missed that live interaction, we are doing Tour Live later on today, where we were talking about Wednesday night's game, but obviously also looking forward to Saturday as well. And then there'll be loads more. Josh Sexton, we're doing a team talk insert. Oh wow, into Tour Live. So if you're one of these people saying, I've heard all about this team talk, I've heard a lot about this Josh Sexton guy, but don't subscribe to the audio, you're going to get it for free today if you join our restream. Isn't that exciting?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I've not done it for 2 weeks either, so I've been saving up my hires, been practicing in the mirror. So you're gonna get a specifically non-energetic one today, I'd say.
Unleashed on all the public for absolutely free. So yeah, fantastic shows going out today. As ever, tomorrow there'll be no content coming out from the Anfield Wrap. It is the Hillsborough anniversary. We never put any content out on Friday, so we will be completely blank on Friday. But then on Saturday we're going to the game. We've got the bus, the mega bus, the Kiev/Madrid bus, the Wembley bus now, I suppose you call it. It's its second trip down to Wembley in a month. So we'll be putting out a show nice and early that we're going to do on the bus. Everyone have a bit of a chat, how are you all feeling, what you're drinking, that sort of palaver. And then obviously straight after the game as well, post-match reaction. Hopefully the audio from inside Wembley, if they let us hang around and do it. The video from the back of the bus. And let's all hope with jubilance. Hey, I'm feeling confident anyway. But thanks so much for joining us this morning. If you wanted some of this fantastic merch, by the way, it's the AnfieldWrap.com/shop. So some great stuff that's on there at the moment, some fantastic designs. And yeah, we're all looking to get kitted out, aren't we, for Benidorm, aren't we? So you're going to you'll look the absolute business in your Diogo Jota shirt and Tiki Beach lad, I promise you. Anyway, nice one to Josh, nice one to Sam, nice one to Tom. Up there.